So I think the reason why Brian asked me to speak this morning is I work at this company called Mzinga. And just to give you a little bit of history on me, I worked at a large financial services firm called Fidelity Investments for about 9 years. And between Fidelity and Mzinga, I probably interviewed close to 200 or 250 people during those years. And as many of you know, show of hands, anyone ever had to go through the hiring process where they've actually interviewed people to hire them? Yeah, so all of you know the pain of sitting there trying to get to know a little bit about someone from 1 or 2 sheets of paper that very often is exaggerated, to say the least. So recently I knew that I had a couple of hires that I had to do. We had a social media marketing manager and a PR sort of 2.0 type person. And I said, you know what, I'm sick of the existing process. I don't want to do the same old thing. I don't get the people I'm looking for, and it's just way too much time and way too much effort. And I know this is not something that necessarily can apply to everyone's business, or at least in the way that I did it, but I think there are principles that you can take away, which are, it's okay to break the rules, and it's okay to sort of take a step back and think about what's going to help you, ideally using social media, change the way you do some of your day-to-day processes. So in my case, it was hiring, which we're talking about today. I wrote a blog post, and it was called Hiring in a 2.0 World, and I said, I am going to do this differently. So first of all, no resumes. I don't want to see any paper. I don't want to see any, here's the school I went to, here are the last 5 jobs I worked at, blah, 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 blah. The other thing I didn't want you to do was email me. And the reason why is because I knew that the people I was going to hire, I wanted to really have them live and breathe in a social media world and use the tools that I've come to learn and love, things like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And so I thought, this is a forcing process. It may be painful. I don't know how it's going to turn out. Maybe people will hate it. Maybe no one will show up. But I thought, I'm going to give it a try because I hate the existing process. It doesn't work. It's painful. So to give you an update on where the journey's gone, one of the cool things that happened, which, by the way, helped spread the word, was I use Twitter like Stever does to get the message out there. And so I put a note out just saying, hey, I posted, I'd love to have you guys come in and take a look because I may be crazy here. So the first thing I knew, within an hour, a friend of mine, Kate Olson, she's K Olson 29 on Twitter, wrote a blog post about it, saying, this is a cool thing that Aaron's doing. I was flattered. And then I think Brian and I had breakfast the next morning, and then an hour later, Brian had written a post about it. And then Shel Israel, who is the author of Naked Conversations and a friend of mine, wrote a post about it as well. And so all of a sudden I had some traction going on. The next thing I knew, U.S. News and World Report was interested in doing a blog, and so they picked it up. And that subsequently led to an article. And so why I tell you this is I've been absolutely blown away by the attention that I've gotten both on Twitter, people who have written subsequent blog posts. I've had a few requests for podcast interviews and things like that. But what it told me was other people felt the same way that I did, that maybe they're not hiring someone explicitly for social media, but they agreed that the hiring process is broken. So just to wrap things up, where I am with this is I've had probably somewhere in the 15, 16 person range number of people apply. They've all applied in the way that I wanted to. They reached out and either wrote a blog post, they reached out to me through Twitter, they pointed me to their LinkedIn account or their Facebook account. And I've actually had some really good candidates. We have one person, I won't mention names, that we're close to hiring, but we are still in the process. So if any of you are looking for a job, and I have a feeling there may be 1 or 2 of you since you're here for Hiring in a 2.0 World, I'm at a Strout on Twitter. Come and see me afterward, or certainly tweet me. But it's been an amazing process, and I think that what I've learned from it is that this particular process can work. And what I like about it is that I think all of us who are here, because obviously we all embrace social media in some way, shape, or form, is I get to know the people I was looking at in a much deeper fashion. I could see who they liked from music. I could see who some of their friends were. I could see their blog posts, their writing style, what they did, how they presented themselves, how they organized their pages. And I know that, one of the first things, and this is a question that U.S. News and World Report asked me, is you do start to cross some lines. You're asking for pictures of people. You're asking to know potentially how old they are. And you can see some things that might not be flattering about them. So I do realize that that can be problematic, but in fairness, as part of my role, I did say you can reach out to me at LinkedIn, you can write a blog post, and if you do that, then you can do that somewhat, not anonymously, but you can, maintain, you can hide your sort of face and age and things like that, so I'm not discriminating. Going out saying that I'm out of time? Otherwise, I will talk too long here. So I will write a summary blog post and let everyone know sort of how it's gone and who I've hired and sort of point out some of the upsides and downsides. But I would strongly recommend anyone considering hiring someone really think about using some different tools, use social media tools, get to know people better, go beyond the traditional resume, because I've found that I get to know these people much better, deeper, richer, and it was very helpful in terms of the screening process. And I will say that I hadn't completely wiped out the traditional process. I did actually meet with some people face to face. I think there's a gut check thing that you have to do, but I was incredibly pleased with it. And so if anyone would like to engage with me either face to face or on Twitter, I'm happy to talk more about the experience. So thank you, Brian, for having me today.